Hey guys, it's Julia and welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I'm going to be doing my July 2016 reading wrap-up. This was a really busy-ish month for me and there was there was a lot of reading going on, so I in total read 27 things. Some ridiculous numbers, so I'm not going to go too in depth in this video, but yes, according to my book here, I read a total of 27 things. Yay! So I'll start off by sharing my statistics and then we'll jump right into it. So again, this month I read a total of 27 books. I read a total page count of 6,540 pages, and my average page count per book was 242. For the authors that I read 17 female authors and I read 10 male authors. Tree collection, 8 manga, 6 graphic novels, 4 contemporaries, 4 fantasies, 2 westerns, and 2 mental illness related fiction. My star ratings, I ranged a lot. I ranged between 2 stars and 4.5 stars, and I ended up with an average of 3.3 stars. So my average was lower this month. And for physical formats, I read 3 ebooks, 6 hardcovers, and 18 paperbacks. Right into it. First up, I read Suicide Notes from Beautiful Girls, and author's name is here. I probably won't say too many other names because I just have the titles written down, of course, plus I'm horrible with pronouncing things anyway, so it works out. So this book has trigger warnings for suicide and rape, so keep that in mind before picking this book up. I really didn't enjoy it. It started off really well, and then it just went really downhill. It was like, what the hell? It was so odd, and I just found the characters obnoxious, and there was just so many things that bothered me, like little things about, I know everyone has their own opinions and beliefs obviously, but just things about abortion, all these other things, it was just so offensive. So some people reading it, I was like, okay, and so I gave the book 2 out of 5 stars. So not a good way to start off the month, but it's okay. Next up, I read The Siren by Kiera Cass. I do have a full-length book review on this, so if you want to check more of my thoughts out, then I will link that up on the screen for those who are interested. For this book, I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. It was enjoyable in ways. I mean, my enjoyment went up and down with this book. It wasn't amazing though. I didn't love the characters, I didn't just love it and the writing style as much as I liked the selection series. So this was a bit disappointing, but I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars, so yeah. Next, I read volumes 13, 14, and 15 of Blue Exorcist, and volume 13, this series is about the son of Satan who trains to become an exorcist, and it's a manga series, and basically I gave volume 13 3.75 out of 5 stars. I gave volume 14 4 out of 5 stars. I gave volume 15 4 out of 5 stars as well. Next up, I read A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Burnett. This I was really excited for. I thought it sounded really cool, really interesting, and basically it was disappointing on that level for me because it was I don't mind this writing style, but it was written similar to a classic. It had that kind of writing style to it. At first I didn't mind it, but the book moves so slow and it just felt so it just didn't not even that much happened, and it had to do with arranged marriage and this old setting, and it had to do with prejudice, and it's just not what I thought. It's just not really what I wanted in this book, to be honest. Not that I have a problem with prejudice themes, because I always find that stuff interesting, but it's just the older setting. It just felt like a classic to me. This wasn't my cup of tea. I wouldn't say it's a horrible book. I think a lot of people really like this. It just wasn't my kind of book, I guess. So I gave this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Ellen of Vanishing. This has trigger warnings for eating disorder, self-harm, and rape, so keep that in mind before picking this up. This book is actually a memoir about a girl and her experience with an eating disorder. It was a fast read overall, and I thought it was really powerful and hard-hitting, but overall it was just missing some factor for me that hit me. It just obviously certain parts were really hard to take in a way, but it just didn't leave a lasting impression on me. So that was where it lacked for me. It just didn't give off that bam to it that a lot of these books do for me. 3 out of 5 stars. I read Assassination Classroom Volume 1, and this series is about a classroom, and it's a bunch of the delinquents, and the teacher is this octopus looking thing who's out to kill the world, and they're supposed to kill him before he can do that. And it is so fun. I read the first 3 volumes this month and I love them, and it's just so unique and cool, and it's actually really humorous, so I really was liking it, and I gave this a 3.75 out of 5. Read the first Edward Scissorhands graphic novel, which I really like the art style in this one, and I just like, it was enjoyable, but I just felt that some things could have been fleshed out a bit more. But I ended up giving this a 3 out of 5 stars. Deep Dark Fears, this was another graphic novel, and this was just like, it was kind of odd and quirky. It was just a bunch of people's little weird fears and little obsessions and things like that. And it was enjoyable. It was mediocre though-ish, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Level Up, and I didn't really love this one either. I liked the aspects of the, like, it had to do with gaming, and it was about Destiny and all this stuff that I found really insightful, and I thought it was just like a really interesting point of view to follow, but it wasn't that great, you know? Because I read a really great one. I read Orange, the Complete Collection Volume 1. I adored this. If you haven't read this yet, I would highly recommend it. It basically is about this girl who gets a note from her, she gets these letters from herself in the future telling her what's gonna happen and how to fix this horrible mistake that happened. But it is so good, and this book does have trigger warnings for suicide, so keep that in mind. But this was just so good. So good. It deals with suicide, but it was just, at times I was like laughing, like it was so funny, it was so cute, and I was loving this. So I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars, which if you know me, I don't give out ratings that high often, but I love this, so I'd highly recommend it if you haven't read it yet. And next I read Saga Volume 6, which I thought was okay. I liked the time jump in this volume, but there wasn't much fighting and there wasn't much enough going on for me. Like, I thought it was a bit underwhelming for me, so I gave it I still liked it though, and I love the art as usual, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I read The Distance Between Us by Casey West. This is a YA contemporary book, and this is about a girl who, she works in a doll shop, which I found was so weird. It was so interesting though, a porcelain doll shop, and she meets, like, she kind of stays away from the rich guys, and she meets a rich guy, and it's about their romance and things like that. It was really nice though, like, it was enjoyable, it was fast, it was kind of like what I like. Like, I do like Casey West's contemporaries, but this did have some cliche bits, but overall I did still like it, and I gave it a 3.25 out of 5. I read another graphic novel, and that is The Eternal Smile. This was okay. No, it wasn't that good. I didn't like it. I thought the endings were really bad, and I didn't like the art styles, and I thought like the plots would go to making so much sense to then making no sense whatsoever. It was kind of all over the place, and I ended up giving it a 2 out of 5 stars. The Sculptor, the graphic novel. This is a really popular one. I constantly hear about this. I was slightly disappointed in it. Like, it just had so many little things about it. Like, there was this trope that I realized that I absolutely hate, the pixie dream girl trope, and she just comes in with a couple words of wisdom and then he magically falls in love. I'm like, right, that's reality, sure. And it was like unique, and I did care about the main lead, but other than that I didn't care about anything else. And like, it was a really interesting story, so I do think a lot of people would like it. Like, I see why people love it, but just I didn't enjoy it as much. But I gave it a 3 out of 5. Next was Booktubeathon that hit. So I read 7 books in the 7 days. I do have a wrap-up video, so if you're interested in my in-depth thoughts, then you can watch that video if you're interested. But basically, I read Assassination Classroom Volume 2, and I gave that a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I read The Gunslinger by Stephen King, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I read We Were Liars, which I gave 2 out of 5 stars. Fire Academy, which I gave 3.5 out of 5 stars. I read Dead Man Wonderland Volume 1, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. I read Frostbite by Rochelle Mead, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars as well. Least I read Milk and Honey, which I gave a 3.25 out of 5 stars. After that, I picked up an Assassination Classroom Volume 3. This, again, I really enjoyed. It just wasn't as good as the previous 2, so I did give this 3 out of 5 stars. So I read a really exciting one, and that is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. This is not yet released. I just found out my bookstore early. My review will go up on the day of the release, so I won't talk about this too much. It was good, not my favorite. Just had trigger warnings for abuse, so keep that in mind. It was good, it was solid. It was like what I like in Colleen Hoover's books. It was quick, it was like so enjoyable. Like, it wasn't like enjoyable, like it was. My review's going up in a couple days. I still really enjoyed it. Not my favorite by her, but not my least favorite, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Vengeance Road by Erin Bowman, which I was really damn surprised by. I actually really enjoyed it. It's a YA Western. I ended up giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was really, I really liked it, and I think I really like Westerns, so recommend me more Westerns if you guys know of any. I would love to hear some. So that's that. Oh, this is the cover, by the way. Jaw-droppingly beautiful, anyone? Last book I read this month was The Effortless by Julie Halpern. I really didn't enjoy this, so I don't want to talk about it too much. I ended up giving it a 2 out of 5 stars. It was a quick and like tolerable read, but it had to do with like sex, drugs, smoking, etc. And the people were like it talked about the weirdest things. It was just really uncomfortable to read. It wasn't great, and I felt like the illness wasn't fleshed out enough, because it does have to do with cancer, but it wasn't fleshed out enough. Sorry I'm rushing through this ending bit, but I am running out of footage and I'm running out of space, and I also don't want this to be too long. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope you had a wonderful reading month. Good luck to everyone in August, and I'm so excited to hear from you guys in the comments and see how everyone is doing. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.